I'm Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
Well, I'd like to take a second and just talk a little bit about the injury report. I know that there were a lot of names on it, but I just have some questions about some of the things that that you kind of have conjecture about as you look at this thing. Let's start with Darnell Wright being unable to go with an elbow injury. Just for the sake of argument, I hope it's early in the week and he'll have time to maybe be limited today or even limited on Friday. He could still play on Sunday, especially being kind of a getaway day where you go into the bye week. I'm just curious, if he doesn't go, Brad, does that mean that you have that you would start Theo Benedict on the right side, or would you start Ozzy Trapilla? Would he then be active and start in his place?
Unless they saw something on tape from Theo Benedict that they were particularly unpleased with, I think he's clearly the guy, because I don't know that there's been enough time for Ozzy Trapilla to close whatever gap there is in the mind of the coaches on the practice field. Trapilla would obviously, in that scenario, get a uniform and be active for Sunday against the Raiders, but I think it would almost certainly have to be Benedict. The coach didn't seem overly concerned about the injury coming out of the game, and so I would be at least a little bit optimistic that his status will improve as the week goes on.
All right, I'll go back to last week, though, because I think when you heard Ben Johnson speak in glowing terms about Ozzy Trapilla and his development and actually say that he was going to play and it would be the right side, wouldn't it make more sense to keep him, at least get him active, and if Darnell Wright can't go, play him over Benedict, who's been your left tackle and probably more comfortable on the left side? Because I think that if you want to, it's a lot to ask of a rookie, but Ben Johnson did sound pretty optimistic about the development of Trapilla just a week ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna put greater stock in actions over words, and the guy's been inactive. He's been behind a guy who was a undrafted rookie free agent from a school in Canada, and I couldn't even tell you what conference it plays in. So I think it would be Benedict.
Hold on, I'll check.
What is their team name? No.
I think he went to University of British Columbia, I believe.
BC. So they'd be
BC, just like Ozzy.
Yeah.
Brad, the other one that
Sorry,
really...
Are we interrupting something, Brad?
No, I think it's just this tomfoolery.
Exasperation?
He wants to get to the information.
Okay.
Brad, help us out. So what are they going to do? I mean, if DeAndre Swift already has back on the injury list with a different injury, does that mean the other one is cured? And what are they going to – is he just going to be banged up all year? Are they going to get him help?
Running back's going to have something, whether they're on the injury report or not. A running back's probably going to have something that's ailing them a little bit and giving them a reason to pop into the training room all season long. That's the nature of the position. I believe it was a thigh last week, and it's a hip now. I mean, that could be related. But he practiced every day last week. He practiced yesterday. I think that Kyle Monangai getting, I believe, 6 carries is what it was this past week. That's probably the floor for where they want to be with RB2 Monangai right now. Maybe that goes up a little bit. Obviously, game flow is going to dictate a lot of it in terms of the touches and carries and snaps. But I would imagine Swift will also be okay. And the coach was optimistic about Colston Loveland, who was held out yesterday with his injury. I think you can't put a lot of stock in the Wednesday injury report, and I would think there's a decent chance Loveland is also in action against Vegas on Sunday. the guys that have been out, sort of an extended period. Kyler Gordon, T.J. Edwards doesn't look good for the. I don't see any way they play on Sunday.
Brad, we were just talking about what happened on the CNBC report that the Bears are now valued near $9 billion, the latest after they settled the Andrew McKenna stake in ownership. Do you look at anything compelling about that news update? How do you read that, and how does it relate to maybe where they are with the stadium project?
Well, I don't know that one has a lot to do with the other, the report and the stadium situation. If they cannot proceed forward without decades of tax certainty for the land, wouldn't we all love that? It would be difficult no matter what they're valued at, right? Like it seems like it's going to be up to Springfield, which that's a very brief period in October for something to happen for the Bears, and if that doesn't shake out for them in the next couple weeks here, maybe they have to huddle up again and try to come up with a new way to approach it with the state government in the springtime. Kevin Warren had been on a bit of a PR tour with press conferences, and he appeared, he was on TV during that national, I can't remember what network carried that preseason game, but he found his way into the broadcast booth for that. So they've been working hard to kind of spin the situation and let people know that it's a great deal it's a win for everyone. But we'll see if the people in the government that matter see it similarly here very soon.
So it's my understanding that the Bears have jumped from 6.4 billion in worth a year ago to 8.9 this year, according to this report. And the interesting thing is the finance committee are the ones that had to approve the sale, so they're the ones saying 8.9. The league itself. So obviously, Skydance buying Paramount CBS means that the NFL was able to renegotiate their TV deal on that front, and the rest is going to follow here. And when you look at just what's going on in television, they're having a hard time getting ratings consistently on other things other than sporting events, and obviously the NFL is king of television ratings. So, all you got to do is look at what the TV ratings are, and you can kind of follow how much money these franchises are worth. And what we're seeing is the league going from strength to strength. They're getting even more money, and they're getting even stronger in terms of the rich getting richer.
Right, and listen, that's what the stadium's about. It's not about anything else other than that. It's they're hey, they get their business, and that's everybody's goal in business, right? But it's not about bringing a Final Four to Arlington Heights or Super Bowl every 15 or 20 years. It's about them trying to really expand their business, and they've had the longest, most difficult struggle putting together their own stadium for more than 50 years. When they initially moved to Soldier Field in the beginning of the 1970s, it was going to be a couple-year proposition before they had their own place, and that was a long, long time ago. So maybe they can get some traction later next month. People seem skeptical that that'll happen, but if not, perhaps in the spring, so they can finally get this thing moving forward, because they wasted a lot of time after they bought the land and went back to the lakefront and focused there. And people would be very eager, I'm sure, to plunk down money for a brand new set of PSLs and a new stadium.
When Ben Johnson spoke yesterday about Ashton Genty, the Raiders rookie running back, did he sound to you like a guy, as it did seem to me a little bit, that was speaking almost envious, or he really has a lot of respect for the player? And it sounded like he knew a lot about the player because the Bears may have done a lot of research on him. Did you hear the same thing, Brad? And how big of a challenge is it to stop somebody who really hasn't gotten on track yet, but is very dangerous?
Yeah, listen, everybody loved Genty going into the draft. Everybody. Like, it was, there weren't problems or questions with him. Everybody loved the tape. And it's a really rich spot for a running back, and they haven't been able to block it up. Like, he's averaging, I want to say, like 1.07 yards before contact. So they're really struggling on the interior of their offensive line, and that's made things really difficult. Ashton Genty, probably the best running back prospect in a couple of years, and it just goes to show you that if you don't have the linemen, it's not really going to matter. He's averaging 3.1 yards a carry right now, and then the Raiders have fallen behind in some of these games and had to try to play catch up, and so they haven't been able to keep drives alive. So a lot of things are problematic for Pete Carroll in that team right now. But I think Genty's still got a bright future. But they've got to get their offensive line in better shape, though.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Est Wing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years, estwing.com. Brad, in terms of the Bears facing off against a Vegas team that has struggled to stop people as much as they struggle to run the ball, what should we look for? What is more repeatable from one week to the next? The Bears finding success in the running game, or the Bears being able to hit those explosive plays?
Boy, I think they could do both against the Raiders. I certainly think the explosive plays can be there. You look at the Raiders defense, and Ben Johnson was highly complimentary of Max Crosby. They've got another solid player on the edge in Malcolm Kuntz, who has been productive in the league. So they've got some talent up front. The back seven is a collection that's largely made of cast-offs and misfits. So I really like the opportunity for Caleb Williams to go in there and find plays to make really all over the field. They signed Jeremy Chin, the safety. He was with the Commanders last year in free agency, and he's a decent player. One of the starting corners is Eric Stokes. He was I think it was a first-round pick of the Packers. Didn't work out in Green Bay. They got Caillou Blue Kelly at the other cornerback position. Who's a fifth-round pick in 2023, guys, who's on his fifth team. Wow. Okay, so I think there's plays to make on the back end. Devin White, one of the linebackers, he doesn't run real well at all. Neither does Landon Roberts. So I don't know that they're going to run the ball great. They're trying to, and Ben Johnson alluded to them. He thinks they're close on a lot of these plays where there's just some minor details in terms of how it's being blocked, specifically maybe the running back's path, that when they get that stuff tightened up here a little bit, when the linemen have a little more time on task working with each other, that they're going to be a little bit better off. But, just looking at that Raiders depth chart, I think there's plays to make in the passing game.
Much was made yesterday about a full team meeting that Ben Johnson had all the offensive players watch the running game tape as opposed to watching with their individual position groups. How big of a deal was that, and what was he looking for?
Well, I think that's it. What I just said, kind of getting alignment on the same page, making sure the tight ends are on the same page. Obviously, you guys are well aware of the emphasis that they put on their wide receivers being part of that as well, in terms of, their effort as blockers is directly tied to, how involved they are in the passing game plan. So I think that was because they probably see a handful of plays. It's not every play, but a handful of plays in the game where it is close. They just need to be a little better on the details so they can pop a couple runs. Because what's the difference between where they're at right now and a point where you'd say, hey, they're running the ball pretty well? Well, it's turning a 3-yard run in the first quarter into a 9-yard run. It's turning a 4-yard run in the second quarter into an 8-yard run, and then in the third quarter maybe that's a 4-yard run popping as a 17-yard run. Like it's not a massive difference. It's just a couple of plays a game where you hit those. Then you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, this looks much better. It's improved.
Is any of Roschon Johnson's limitation on offense? And I mean, he doesn't really get snaps on offense. His snaps are all on special teams. And when the coach was asked about his role, he told you his role is special teams. Don't they need another running back? Would they prefer to have him play special teams than bring up someone that might be able to break a run or pound a little bit harder, whatever it might be? I mean, as opposed to getting 3 yards a carry, they're looking for some big gashes. But if they got 4.5 yards a carry, they would be phenomenal. It would change everything. I just am trying to figure out. I know they've got the yin. Where's the yang, right? I mean, I know they got a guy in Johnson that's good in space. Who's the between the tackles guy? And they've actually given a couple of carries, or they've used both DJ Moore inside. They've used Monunge. They've used Caleb, which they shouldn't do. I'm just curious, why don't they have like the kind of other part of that running game with a different player?
Well, Monunge's kind of built to maybe be able to do that. We've just got to see more from him. If something were to happen to one of those top two backs during a game, I think you would see Roschon in the backfield a little bit. And I understand why you ask about Roschon and you wonder, what his role is and what he's going to do. But they've played 3 games, and Monunge's had only 54 snaps. And if he's your defined number 2, which he is right now, that we're not talking about a lot. The guy's been out there basically.
Right.
What are we?
18 snaps a game.
18 plays a game.
Yeah.
So I think you want to see more from Monunge. Can he handle the role with a little more experience? Is he going to be improved? DJ Moore in the backfield, I think that's just knowing his skill set, some of the things he does well, and looking for opportunities for him to, you're not necessarily going to be in space when you're getting the ball in the backfield, but it's a quick way to get him to the perimeter with the football in his hands.
Hey, Brad, next time write about Theo Benedict. British Columbia is in the Canada West Conference.
Okay, there you go.
Just wanted you to know. You asked and answered.
You learn something every morning.
Just in case.
CWC.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Brad.
You're the best. Thank you, Big Z.
All right, guys, have a great day.